Do you believe this Denver team can pick up where they left off a year ago before Bo Nix got hurt and potentially play in another AFC title game?
Abso-freaking-lutely. And here's why. Here's one thing that the Broncos and Bo Nix has that most other teams around the NFL, they don't have. They have a vaulted defense led by Vance Joseph. And oh, by the way, they only lost one piece, John Franklin Myers, who's now playing with the Tennessee Titans. They brought most of their guys back. And what we saw of what the Broncos were able to do last year, 7-1 record at home, which was phenomenal. That was due in part because of their defense. And I know when you talk to a lot of national analysts, they're going to talk about Bo Nix in the fourth quarter comebacks. And I tell them every single time, how do you think he did that, right? The defense had to hold the opponents to no points or to 3 points and allow for that massive comeback. And I'll tell you this, the Broncos defense has been talking about this low key. Last year, 63 sacks. So 2 years in a row, Dustin, they led the league in sacks. So they're hoping to triple that number and go from 63 maybe to 72, maybe to 82. But all I know, if you Bo Nix, you like the fact that you're playing with house money in the Denver Broncos defense.
Absolutely. Now, they won't go anywhere if the ankle's not okay. They'll go as far as his arm can go, but his arm can't go anywhere unless the ankle takes him there. The ankle bone connected to the shin bone.
Hold on, Dustin.
Yeah?
Whoa. We're not even talking about the ankle anymore.
Oh, are we good? I was going to ask you, are we concerned about the ankle? We're not concerned.
No, we are not concerned about the ankle. So we're going to stop with the bad mojo.
Okay.
No bad mojo. The ankle is good.
Then talk to me about the offense. Davis Webb is the offensive coordinator, which is kind of weird because Sean Payton is such a control freak. I understand that Payton's going to be by his side, but how different do you anticipate this offense looking with Davis Webb, an up-and-coming offensive mastermind, now taking over the play calling?
It's gonna look massively different because last season, some of the issues were the players were coming out far too late. And we saw on several different occasions, Bo Nix looking at the sideline, clapping his hands, and I'm not going to mouth to you some of the things that he was mouthing, telling them to get the play in as quickly as possible. Davis Webb is going to get the play in quickly, but also, too, we're going to see a lot of pre-snap movement. We didn't see a lot of that in Sean Payton's offense over the past 2 years, but watching the Broncos move in training camp, that was kind of a point of emphasis. How can we create more space, more matchups for Bo to operate? So this is where we're going to see Davis Webb start to bring about more execution, and more importantly, you now have Jaylen Waddle. So that means more explosive plays. And for you fantasy owners out there, that may mean more points for you as well.
Nick Ferguson is our guest, 10 years in the National Football League, Jets, Broncos, Texans, hosting shows, KOA in Denver, at Nick Ferguson _25 on X. What does Jaylen Waddle do to this offense? Because you combine it with Sutton, you have Troy Franklin out there. How does this offense operate now with another dangerous speedster and Jaylen Waddle mixed in?
Well, it's all about an arms race. And a lot of teams now are running more 11 personnel than we've seen, I guess, even when I played. So you want to get your fast guys on the field. You want to be able to put them out in space. And when you think about what Jaylen Waddle brings to this offense, that's another layer as far as being a vertical threat. Bo took a couple of shots downfield, but not as many as the Broncos fans and even the coaching staff would have liked for them to take. And Jaylen Waddle was their target. He was their target this past offseason, and he was their target last year, trade deadline. But the Miami Dolphins didn't want to part ways with him. But watching him in practice, the ability to accelerate, to decelerate, to catch a slant route and turn it up and go vertical, that is something that the Broncos offense liked last year. But I remember as you were talking about the Broncos wide receivers, you failed to bring up one very important aspect of the Broncos receiver personnel, and that was Marvin Mims. So between Mims and Waddle, that's speed for days. And watching Marvin Mims, he's one of the better receivers on the Broncos roster at tracking the ball in the air to his hands on explosive plays. So you put Jaylen Waddle, Troy Franklin, you put Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, and Cortland Sutton on the field at the same time. Obviously, you can't do them at the same time, but you understand what I'm saying. A rotation of guys, that is going to help Bo Nix's number. And I'm predicting Bo Nix numbers are going to be Drew Brees-like. We're talking about in the 4,000, 4,200 range if all goes well and the Broncos get the run game on track.
I'm glad you said that because I went back and looked. Drew Brees, his third year in Sean Payton's system, that's when things really took off. Like, he was good before that, but that's when he made the jump to 34 touchdowns, threw for 5,000 yards for the first time in his career. Third year for Bo Nix here. Now, at times last year, Nick, they really lacked balance. J.K. Dobbins getting hurt was a big blow. R.J. Harvey, I like the potential, but feels like more of a receiving back at this point in his career. Dobbins is healthy. R.J. Harvey's back. And Jonah Coleman fell to them in the fourth round. How do you anticipate the run game looking this season?
It's run, and more running. And once again, let's not forget, Sean Payton is a former quarterback, and he's like a surgeon. A surgeon wants to cut, right? And Sean Payton wants to throw the ball down the field. When you think about the number of attempts that Bo Nix had last year, we're talking 39 to 40 attempts. And most people would tell you that's because the Broncos couldn't run the ball. That is not true. This is where Davis Webb comes in to keep the offense on schedule and produce more balance, because there were moments where the Broncos would attempt to run the ball and then that run play would get shut down and that would be it. The run game is over, and Sean Payton seemingly would kill the run game. But this year, with three dynamic backs that can actually run between the tackles, but more importantly, you said about RJ. RJ is your pass-catching wide receiver. And remember, when Sean Payton was in New Orleans, he had several pass-catching running backs, and the comp for RJ would be Pierre Thomas, who did a great job in Sean Payton's offense. So you need your running backs to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, be able to stop blitzing linebackers, but also be able to carry and tote the rock and not put it on the turf. So I'm thinking that the Broncos are trying to have a three-headed monster. And if they do that, that ankle that you talked about, that no one's talking about here in Denver with Bo Nix, we don't have to worry about that because the stress is now off of him and on the shoulders of the running backs.
That's a great call. Nick Ferguson is our guest, former NFL DB, Denver radio host, KOA in Denver, at Nick Ferguson _25 on X. How about the division? Because Kansas City is the favorite at plus 160. The Chargers are plus 190. Denver's plus 225. Nick, even as someone who was not high on this team a year ago, and I think Kansas City can bounce back, but they have flaws. The Chargers could be good, but it's still Justin Herbert. Denver is plus 225 to win this thing. They're the third shot on the board. Do you think that they can win the West?
I think it's going to be a tough outing. And say what you want to say about Justin Herbert. I would say that their offensive line wasn't healthy last season. And think about it. There was a 3-game difference between the total schedule of the Denver Broncos and when you look at the Chargers. So this Charger team is going to be tough. And oh, by the way, a guy that I work with in San Francisco, Mike McDaniels, he is, a genius when it comes to run plays. He didn't do a great job as far as being a head coach, but when it comes to the run game and being an offensive coordinator, and your quarterback is Justin Herbert, you got to look out. That's the biggest threat. And I don't understand how Kansas City has the odds that they have of winning the AFC West. Their defense wasn't that good. Chris Jones is on the wrong side of his career. Patrick Mahomes, say what you want to say. Oh, he looks great in training camp, but no one's chasing him right now. Trust me, that first game, those dogs gonna hunt as far as the pass rushers for the Denver Broncos, and we're gonna really see if Patrick Mahomes is truly Clark Kent or Superman.